All right, so Upa, you wanted to talk about what our very first game was.
Yeah.
I'll let you start it.
What's the first game you remember playing? Ben, Alex, and Christian, they all come from families where game consoles and games existed before they were born. For me, I still remember when I was 5 years old is when we got our first PC in the house. Just
Okay.
like a white colored Windows 98 with like this really shitty webcam. Came preloaded with Doom and Doom 2. And that was like my first experience at gaming. And I was shit scared because I was a kid. And I saw these demons that were like shooting fireballs at me. That was like my first game, I would say, like Doom.
Yeah.
Yep.
But also there was Need for Speed 2.
Great
Those
game.
were like preloaded on every computer in India. Like every computer had those games.
Wow.
And then later on we had Counter Strike and stuff like that.
There's a few actually that I remember way back when I used to watch my dad play American McGee's Alice. If anyone knows that game, it's a fucked up version of Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's a great game. It's a great take on the story. She basically lives in an insane asylum, and she returns to Wonderland. In the first game, funny enough, the sequel to the game is called Returns to Wonderland. But she goes back and everything's messed up because she's been gone. And that game scared the living shit out of me, watching my dad play it. And so I was like, I need to get into this. Test Drive, great game. Wolfenstein Castle, the
my
original
God.
Castle
Oh,
Wolfenstein.
yes.
Wolf 3D.
Yeah.
With
Yes.
blue walls.
Yes, I remember my dad going
Mein
through
Lieben.
that. I remember my dad going through that. I was scared out of my mind. You know, I love those kind of games. It's really funny when I think back to it because my dad used to play these games and I would watch him. And funny enough, BioShock, my favorite game of all time, he played it first when I was in 7th grade. And I watched it. And I watched him play it, and that became my favorite game.
Just
of all time.
mesmerized.
Right. So it's just really funny to see, like, oh man, I look on first.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh man, let me get into this now because I'm really into it. I just love the aesthetic.
So you're extremely susceptible to trailers.
Oh my god, trailers are my life. I will wake up I still watch that Dunkirk trailer. For games at least I'd say the original Alice and Wolfenstein. And even that was it Jedi Knights? Whatever on the PC. I can't remember.
Jedi Academy.
Maybe it was you run
Jedi
around
Academy.
just different locations in Star Wars and you just fight as a Jedi.
I think it was Jedi
It
Academy.
might be Jedi.
loved
Probably.
this shit.
Because I don't think
Jedi
it might not
Outcast,
be
Jedi
Kotor.
Academy 2, Dark Forces 3, some title.
Some shit
One
like
of the
that.
Jedi's. George Lucas presents. No, yeah, that was
LucasArts.
yeah. That's what got me into Star Wars.
Oh, I miss
Was that
LucasArts.
game? What about you, Alex? What was your original game?
I really couldn't tell you what my first game was.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that I remember playing a shit ton of games when I was younger. Mario 64, because my dad had the Nintendo 64 in the household. The Sega Genesis was also in the household. We had just, a litany of games. We just had games in the house. But I remember dedicating the majority of my time to Mario Kart 64 and Super Mario 64. I'm 100% sure that neither one of those were my first game that I legitimately got into. I just remember playing those the most. I have a first game. We all have a first game.
Yeah.
But I really don't know what my first game was. And it's funny that it's like, I don't know, it's so weird because my dad also played Wolfenstein and I watched him play it, but it's not the same Wolfenstein that your dad played. It was Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Yeah, that was the one I watched. That was
it
the
was
one.
a 3D one, and at
Yes.
the end you get to
Yes.
fight Hitler or some shit like that.
Yes, that was the one I watched. Yeah,
yeah, and
definitely.
that one was legitimately scary
Yeah,
because the
terrifying.
creatures that Wolfenstein came out with was weird.
Yes.
like that was a trippy fucking game. I need to find the game. like
I
I
did
want
play
the
it.
game,
Yeah.
and I would love to
Yeah.
have my dad play it. Revisit it because he loved that game. Like he would go hours on end just talking about it, and like I would always ask him, so like, what's it about?
Yep.
Why are they speaking a language that I do not understand?
Mein Lieben.
Yeah. I think he played Doom. My dad's he's a border patrol agent. I think he played Doom when he had downtime while he was at work. He would just go back into the office and you just get on the computer, eat, and play Doom or play the classic Wolfenstein or Pinball or something like that. But yeah, I mean that's me. What about you, Ben?
I would have to say the game I watched my older sister play it was Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, there you go.
So
Okay.
it's not like older version, but PS2 was when I really started watching her play
Okay,
games.
okay.
So she would play like Kingdom Hearts or like Sims.
Ben
No,
has
you
a
have-
gigantic
Just
collection of
all the
Sims
Sims.
3 games.
Also,
There's like weird
I was-
expansions.
Yep.
Yeah.
So would you say that that's the first game you ever really truly got into?
yeah, Sims would be one of the truly
Okay,
like,
yeah.
one game I got into.
You spent the
when I
most
first
time
started.
on and
Yeah.
such.
What's Sims Late Night I'm looking at right now? That's just like
It's when
Oh no. Oh yeah.
Well, the best part though, when I first started playing it on the PS2, we didn't have a memory card, so you had to keep on the PS2 for unsaved things. So I kept it on for days.
That's healthy. No, that's
Yeah.
really good for the console.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my god.
You come home and it's just like on fire, and
Yeah,
you're like,
pretty
oh
much.
fuck.
Yeah,
Wow.
whatever. You know.
Not another one.
Are you expecting your Switch to burst into flames at any time, at any point, Alex?
Well, I mean, it's not a Samsung product, so
Oh,
Fair.
shots fired at Samsung.